do you know where you're going to, and do you love your life? Seem confusing a little bit sometimes? Well, this entire talk series that we've had this month is an opportunity for us to trust whatever shows up, so that we actually can pay attention to that, make it part of our journey, and then move forward in a way that lets us actually live our best life and love the life we're living, and find the gift within whatever that thing might be. Now, I know that I'm not the only one whose life doesn't always show up just really rosy awesome. I know that there's stuff in life, yeah? We've all got that going on. But this is the deal. We're going to talk about how transformation happens. So the first thing I want you to do this morning is I want you to give yourself a really big hug and a pat on the back. And I want you to know that who you are right now in this very moment is not a mistake. Who you are right now is not a problem to solve. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to get. There's nothing to do. There's a lot to remember. There's a whole lot to remember. But if we truly believe what we talk about in this community, that each and every one of us is the allness of God expressing, then all we need to do is remember that. Yes? That's our job. So then this is the trick. How do we remember that about ourselves? How do we remember that about each other? I'm not a problem to be solved. I just got to remember who I am so that I can live my best life and in the process be a beneficial presence to everybody else. That's my job, to express that in the world. So this idea of knowing where I'm going and knowing what's happening around me is part of my work at remembering. And when I remember, I have an opportunity to transform. Now for me, transformation is all about discovering something that I didn't know before and putting it into useful practice. Putting whatever that thing is into useful practice. Transformation. If you think about all the transformations that have taken place on the planet in so many different areas, so many different fields, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? So when we have these aha moments, when we have an opportunity to discover something about our own journey, about who we are, about how life works, when those aha moments happen and we get a new perspective about our life experience, this, folks, is what transformation is all about. This is what it's about. And guess what? Our greatest human capacity, you know what it is? Change our minds. To change our minds. I love what David Hawkins says. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Choose again. Choose again, see? Make meaning out of whatever that mystery of life is all about. And this is where we begin to transform our experience of our life so that we remember the truth. That's all we're called to do. Remember the truth of who we are. So, I love this idea. So been working with Jack Kornfield's book, After the Ecstasy, the Laundry. He's a Buddhist teacher. And this is what he says. He says, within each and every one of us is a secret longing to remember our own light, to step out of time, to feel our true place in this dancing world. It's where we began, and it's where we return. It brings with it a sacred question. For each of us, this sacred question is different. Some of us struggle with pain. Others simply want to know how best to live the life they're living. Some wonder what's important and what's the purpose of life. Others ask, how can we love? Or who are we? Whether we wait until the last or see it this very day, the call to mystery presents itself again and again, moment by moment. So that's what this transformation is all about, is right now, right here. So hopefully today, something that you see, something you hear, something you feel while you're in this place will help you get a new perspective. You can take it with you and it will make a difference to you, you see. There are many doorways to awakening. Glenda talked about that. Of course, many people have awakenings around pain and suffering. Many people awaken through that. We each have a unique path of awakening. And so if we do a live are we having trouble hearing me, David? Can you turn it up a little bit? So if there I am. Yeah. So if each of us has a unique path to this awakening process, to how we experience our life, to sense the world in a radically new way. And so what I know about my own life is I've had a lot of those experiences, and they're common with some of the experiences that you've had. Death of people that we care deeply about, our loved ones. Divorce, anybody had a divorce? Death, divorce, those difficult diagnoses, yes. Relationships, shattered relationships, those betrayals, those things that happen in life, and those aha moments in nature. Or Glenda talks about the birth of her grandson, Eden, the minute she saw his eyes. Those, it's the full gamut, it's all of it. Some of it's awesome, and some of it's not, doesn't feel so good. So one of my experiences of transformation, of seeing things in a new way, of seeing something new, was through the death of my father. I got it after watching that process over a long period of time in hospice, that, you know what, we're not just these bodies. We're more than that. We're more than that. This process of the death of the physical being is stunning at the human level. But there's more. And that was a transformative experience for me, shepherding my father to whatever comes next. And since that time, we've had an opportunity to be present with an awful lot of folks in our own community that have made that same journey. And so for me, this idea of taking those scattered pieces of ourselves that look like they're in such pain, pulling them together, and then birthing a new perspective. This is what transformation's all about. And so I'm also one of those people that we read about. I'm not Eckhart Tolle. I didn't lose my mind and sit on a bench for a couple of years. I didn't do that. But I can tell you that I did have one of those white light experiences that we read about. Now, at the time, I thought I was an atheist. That was how weird that was. I had no point of reference for it. I became one with whatever all of this is. It was in a moment of crisis, and the world stopped. It was only light. It was only heart up, not a body. And that one experience, I couldn't talk about it for many years because I had no point of reference. Do you understand what I'm saying? Had no point of reference, and I didn't know who to talk to about this thing. But that experience fundamentally changed my understanding, and it was after my father's death. It changed my understanding of how all of this works, of how everything works, that we really are all one. We really are all connected. So it comes in many different ways. We get these aha moments in lots and lots of ways. Sometimes they're peak experience. Let me tell you something. Anybody who tells you that they are permanently enlightened is not telling you the truth. They're not telling you the truth. There is no such thing as enlightenment and retirement. Yep, I'm enlightened and I'm going to retire now. Doesn't happen that way. We might have an aha moment. We might have a peak experience, and we may have a change of perspective. But I want to tell you something. Those peak experiences do not last. They happen and they fade. They happen and they fade. And they leave with them this residual understanding that is this transformation. So I like what the Christian tradition teaches. This idea, and that's why I picked this image up here. I hate to say it, but I think I'm that one over there with the cane. At almost 70, I get to be that one. Some days I feel like that as I've got my heating pad going, yes? Yes. So you know where you are on that process of transformation, because you know what? Our bodies go through transformation, don't they? And when we're an infant, we have no concept that we're going to look like that. When we're Sally jumping around in puddles, we don't know that we're going to be that middle-aged sort of chubby woman at some point. We have no idea, do we? This is what transformation's about. It's meeting it in the moment, whatever that looks like. Christian tradition says, when I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. But when I grew up, I gave up childish ways. Childish ways. So in other words, we move through our life experience, and as we do, we refine along the way. We get new understandings, new things, and we grow in our life experience. Now here's my invitation. Never give up your childlike quality. You give up those childish things, those ones where you want to lay on the floor and have a tantrum. Give that up. But never give up the childlike qualities that allow you to experience the joy of blowing bubbles or dancing in the rain. Those things we say for ourselves. So this journey that we go from our birth, our human journey, from birth to sagedom, you see, it unfolds moment by moment. And every time it unfolds in a new way, year by year, we get to include everything that's gone on around us, you see. And it has a huge impact. If you're from the social sciences or you're a therapist, you know how fundamentally important our environment and the stuff that happens to us and around us impacts how we perceive the world. Our worldview is very impacted by all the moment-to-moment stuff that goes on. So when we have this capacity, this interest in paying attention to whatever that thing is going on around us, so that we embrace it and remember that our job is to remember our divinity within that thing, whatever it is. Jack Kornfield says, our work with this embodied transformation is about living wisely in this particular body, in this particular life, as it is, on this day, in this amazing human journey. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. It's to be fully present, fully awake, fully engaged with our humanity, remembering the truth of our divinity. And then we're not ever going to be done. I don't think we're ever done. Because we weren't done when we came into being, because we've always been. Hope I don't confuse you. But I believe what Carl Sagan says. We are that stardust. We've always been something. Now it is. And when we're done, when we go the next level past the lady with the cane, we're going to be something different. We're going to transform it. Nobody knows what that is. I don't care what they tell you. Nobody knows. Because nobody knows. We don't know what that is. That's the great mystery. That's the great mystery. So this is your invitation. Live your understanding of your own divinity moment to moment. Be open to whatever comes your way in the moment to give you a glimpse of something new, a new way to perceive something, a new way to be in the world, a new something. This is transformation. Remember, transformation is all about discovering something you didn't know before. Aha moments. Remember that it's going to happen moment by moment. You're going to leave it behind and then you're going to move on. I always love the idea that, Eckhart Tolle talks about the now moment. Well, you know what? The minute you say the now moment, it's done. Then you've got to have another now moment and another now moment and another now moment. The now moment is never, ever done. We're always in process with it. And our greatest human gift is this incredible mind that we have that has a capacity to ask the sacred questions, to open to whatever is going on, the capacity to say, that seemed right at the time. That seemed like a good idea at the time. Now I have new information, and I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to let new information in. I'm going to make a new meaning out of that thing and enter the great mystery one more time. And this is what transformation is all about. Thank you for listening.